Family, we're home. Until Amanda gets her doctor's appointment, sees what needs to be done, we're going to be home. Life is going back to normal. She's doing so much better. Hello, family. Welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. I am Vicki, and you are with Grammy in the kitchen. So we are back home in our kitchen doing our things. Thank you, Lord. The first thing I want to do, now that we are home, is I want to make an apple pie. We bought a box of 40 pounds of apples from Azure Standard back in April, and we canned these. This is not a syrup, it's just the liquid, from canning the apples. I want to put a link right there on how we did these apples. But we're going to make an apple pie out of this, but I need to make a crust. I don't have any crust. So let's go ahead and get started making this apple pie, because the pie crust has to go in the refrigerator and sit for a few minutes before we can roll it out to make sure that butter stays solid and firm in that crust. I went ahead and grated 2 sticks of butter, had that sitting in the refrigerator. We need 2.5 cups of flour, a half a teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and I have a coffee cup with ice water. It says anywhere between 4 to 8 tablespoons. Just like with all other breads and pastries, the humidity in the air is going to determine how much water or liquid you need to add to the flour mixture. So I just want to make sure I get all that butter separated with the flour. That looks good. Let's start off with 3 tablespoons, and we want ice cold water. That is going to help keep the butter in a solid form and not melt it. We just want to add just enough water that the flour will stick to itself. If you hear the noise in the background, I do have a countertop ice machine making some ice. I think that was 5. That is 7. Let's go ahead and dump it out. And this is enough pie crust to make a double pie, or a double pie crust. Just folding it onto itself. Get that water distribute. Right, that is 8. Then we'll go ahead and make it 9. It's coming together now. Now we want to get all these dry bits, incorporate into the dough. And we're going to try to not add any more water to it. I think we have enough water. Oh yeah, I think we did good, family. So mine took 9 tablespoons. Okay, now I want to go ahead, divide it in half. Let's go ahead and make the disc. It would make rolling out so much easier. So I'm going to wrap them up in plastic wrap. Put in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes. One is slightly bigger than the other, but that's okay. We'll just make sure we use this as the bottom and this one as the top. In the refrigerator so they can get a little firm and it'll be easier to roll out and put in the pie plate. Let me get the kitchen reset and I'm going to show you what we're going to do with the apple syrup that is in here to make it a thicker consistency, since we did not use any pectin or sure gel or any kind of thickener in this. And I'm hoping it's going to work. So I want to drain as much of this juice out of here as possible. I have a fine mesh strainer in a bowl. Just trying to get as much of that liquid as I can out. All right, let's do the other one. Very cinnamony. Is that a word? There we go. Oh, it smells so good, family. They're kind of mushy. They don't look like apples in an apple pie. It's okay. It's going to taste like apples. So I have some cornstarch. I want to put about 2 tablespoons. Give that a good whisk. And hopefully, as the pie cooks in the oven and this syrup with that cornstarch thickens, that's the plan. All right, let's set these 2 aside. So we have our cornstarch slurry in the syrup, the apples. I got cinnamon sugar all over my countertop. Let me get that up real quick. Should dry it off. Perfect. And I don't know why I put the flour away. I knew I was going to need this. Okay, let's get started. So we're just going to do 1 crust at a time. We need to preheat the oven. 350 degrees. Now we need to roll our dough. We want to make sure we have enough flour on the bottom and the top and on our rolling pin. You can see the butter in there. Oh, it's so beautiful. We want to make it bigger than our pie plate. Starting to stick on the bottom, so let me add a little bit of flour. I think that is big enough. We're going to roll it onto the rolling pin. And lay it on the pie plate. Lift the sides to get it down in the corners without stretching. Oh, beautiful. Use the back of your finger right here to push it in. Now I want to put this in the refrigerator so the butter will stay cold while we work on the top crust. And we're just going to repeat the process. Flour down on our bench, flour on the top, and flour our rolling pin. And start rolling. And the oven is up to temperature, waiting on us. I do believe that will be big enough. And now I'm going to put this in the refrigerator while we build the pie. That's the bottom crust. Let's go ahead and, ooh, that's got a lot of juice in it. Let's go ahead and add our apples. Oh yeah, 2 jars, perfect. And the cornstarch with the apple syrup from the apples. Probably won't need all of this. That's all I'm going to put on there. That's it. So I have a little ramekin of water. I just want to paint this edge. So the top crust will stick to it. There we go, that's all we need to do. Just go ahead and lay our top crust right on top of that. Perfect. And I want to trim it about a 1/2 inch from the edge. Both the top and the bottom crust. And now we're just going to, with the bottom and the top, fold it under. Give it a little pinch all the way around. And now we're going to make our decoration. So we're going to take our finger and thumb on one hand and a finger on the other hand and kind of like push it in the middle. And that's going to give us a beautiful decoration right here on the edge. Perfect. Let's cut some slits. And in the oven, I'll let you know how long that takes. We want that crust to be a golden brown. The pie filling is done. We just need that crust to get golden brown and that cornstarch slurry to thicken up the syrup that's in there. Time to clean up, and I'll bring you right back when we're ready to pull that out. The apple pie is done. It was in the oven for 1 hour and 15 minutes. It's been sitting on the counter for 1 hour. Now this is the first pie we made with our homemade apple pie filling. It does smell good. The apples are just mushy. Might have been the type of apples I got. I'm not sure. Might have been because I blanched them. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Now I've had success with freezing an apple pie filling, putting it in a pie plate, you know, form it into that shape, then take it out of the pie plate, wrap it up with saran wrap very well, put that in the freezer. That way when we make our crust, we can drop our frozen pie filling right inside the crust and bake it. Had plenty of success that way. Never can apple pie filling. The flavor is there. The consistency of those apples, not so much. It's good. We'll eat it. We got all those jars in the pantry. They'll get eaten. But we'll have to do something different next time. And it's still very, very warm. So I want to say thank you for hanging out with me on this beautiful Sweet Thursday. We made a homemade apple pie using apples that we canned. We will do something different next time. If you don't mind, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. While you're at it, please subscribe. I would love to have you part of the Grammy family. Until we get back into this kitchen and make another delicious meal, dessert, or just some fun things that we normally do. Y'all have a blessed day. Bye, family. Yeah, it's not the best. Not the worst. The husband will eat it. No problem. Not like that, though. Let's try it again. So I just got a fine stretch. I have a fine strain mesh. I have a fine mesh strainer. Top. Let me get that up real quick.